You ever been in one of those Detroit winters where the snow's piling against your boots? Your coffee's gone cold in your hands, but you just can't stop watching the game tape. That feeling when everything seems frozen in the moment. But under the ice, something's about to crack loose. That's where we're standing with this Lions defense right now, deep in the trenches where the real muscle comes in. You know the story, the grind, the fight. The yearning to build what Barry Sanders once danced through, what Calvin roared about on Sunday nights. This isn't just football. It's Detroit trying to put the pieces together for the first time. In years, the last playoff season, fading memory. The disappointments of Caldwell's regime still sting. But here we are, right back at that crucible, hoping Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell have found the right recipe. A defense that doesn't just hope to survive, but dominantly bulldozes. And the stage is set. Every snap counts, every movement matters. Every player either cements their spot or melts away in the bitter Detroit freeze. Pull up a chair, because this isn't just another preseason recap. There's a seismic shift unfolding inside the Lions' front four and linebacking cores. The chatter you've heard swirling, hushed in the tightest bars on Main, whispered in winter tailgate tents, it's about a defensive edge presence that's danced lightly, but now may be stepping off the ice altogether. You feel it, right? That tension when a guy's snaps drop off for reasons bigger than injury or skiing. We all saw Nate Lynn's flashes. That quickness off the line, the hip looseness that looks like it was forged in some Detroit foundry, a spin move here, a jab. There, making offensive tackles think twice. But here's the wrinkle. As much as he's flashed, as much as his hustle reeks of heart and promise, there's been a nagging question about consistency and that elusive power surge the Lions crave on edge. So, while Nate's moves look smooth as Motown on vinyl, the rumor mill, that reliable Detroit grapevine, suggests the front office might be ready to shake things up and not in the way you want. Yes, you heard me. Nate Lynn, that name that's been circling like the cold wind off the Rouge River, could be on the way out. Lead chatter. Detroit insiders murmuring that Lynn's standing on the roster bubble tighter than old El Blue Bayou's ice crust in February. This move, if it happens, signals big shifts beyond just the number crunch. Think about the scheme. Ben Johnson's defense thrives on discipline, patience, and pressure that doesn't get lost chasing phantom edges. Lynn's game is as much about vision and hand fighting as it is raw power, but the Lions need more than just flashes. We're talking about collapsing pockets consistently, controlling the run, and not letting quarterbacks breathe easy in the pocket. Lynn's pressure count? Solid but not earth-shattering. A few key pressures here, a handful of impressive spins, but no dominance yet. And in the contract world, he's a depth gamble. A late-round pick with something to prove on every snap in Honolulu blue. Losing Lynn tightens the screws for depth, but opens the door for younger arms or freshly minted draft picks hungry to carve out their own legacy at Ford Field. Someone has to eat up defensive snaps. And when you cut one edge rusher loose, it slams a reset button on who's climbing the depth chart. That ripple? It's going to hit hard from the defensive ends too. The blitz packages. Now, before you throw your hands up or curse the cold Detroit sky, think about what this means for the Lions' identity. Dan Campbell preaches physicality. You push, you stall. You hit like your city's history depends on it. Cutting Lynn? It's a message that says, we want more power, more persistence on the edge. This could be the Lions moving all in on a style that prioritizes crushing run defenders and relentless, disciplined pass rushers over those one-hit wonder plays. A return, in a way, to that garage-built toughness that earned us respect in the Barry Caldwell days. But it also means the pressures on guys like Tyler Williams and Nate Lynn's possible replacements to not just hold the line, but own it. Williams, who's shown that promising blend of quickness and power inside, could see more snaps as Lynn's role shrinks, while rookies and young vets will be itching to prove they're the fresh Detroit steel. Oh, and the humor here? Imagine this locker room whisper. Hey, Lynn, You spinning and jabbing into cuts, or you just rehearsing your salsa moves for the off-season. This ain't salsa dancing, man. It's dog-eat-dog, claws-out football in a town that breathes grit. If Lynn steps off this skirmish line, it's not just about one player. It's about a team at a crossroads, choosing its fighter and defining just how Detroit this defense is willing to get. You know our call to arms, as Lions faithful. We own the city's scars and victories, and that means burning the midnight oil with every tape, every practice update, and every whispered locker room shift. So wrap yourself in that Honolulu. Blue like a winter jacket, step into those tailgate rituals that roar beneath the lights at Ford Field, and rally behind these scrappy grinders. The decisions made now will echo from the banks of the Detroit River to the cheers on Woodward Avenue. But here's the sting that'll keep you up tonight. If Nate Lynn is indeed on the chopping block, who steps up to fill that void? Who grabs? The edge enforces quarterbacks to tighten their grips on the ball. How will this shake the run-pass-rush balance Ben Johnson demands? What happens to the blitz packages that depended on Lynn's quick change of direction and punch? And maybe most importantly, how does this ripple jolt the psyche of Lions linebackers like Zach Cunningham, whose ability to blitz might be the new X factor in this evolving defense? The Lions have faced heartbreak and near misses before. We remember the close calls, from the playoff push heartbreaks to the relentless drive to finally crack through the noise. Now, the grind continues, and this decision, this whisper of maybe Lynn's done, could be the first crack in. A new Detroit defensive foundation or a costly misstep by a team looking to rewrite its future. Detroit's edge, right now, isn't just about sack numbers. It's about heart, grit, and the raw power to push back the storm. And the question hanging in the bitter air, will the Lions find that edge, or will the cold snap that might? Claim Nate Lynn be the start of a deeper freeze? Buckle up. The next move isn't just on the field. It's the kind of play that defines a city and a team desperate to rise. Keep your eyes sharp and your pints full. This story is just heating up. This is where Detroit's soul is forged in the fire of uncertainty and grit, no room for hesitation. No space for second guessing, because if Nate Lynn's stepping off that line for good, then who's got the heart to pick up the slack in this cold, relentless pursuit of redemption? That decision hangs like a winter storm front, creaking with the weight of a franchise's hopes, as the front office weighs the veteran instincts versus the raw, untested hunger of rookies and practice squad whispers echoing about maybe flipping the script entirely. Could this be the rookie, the guy still chewing on college schemes, who suddenly becomes the unexpected edge that forces the NFC North into chaos? Think about it. Lynn's pressure count has hovered around decent, but not dominant. He's a flash, a spark in the cold winter night. But is that enough when the NFC playoff picture is shaping up like a Detroit winter, dangerous, unpredictable, and bite-your-face cold? We've seen defense that's built on hope falter when single pieces evaporate, and the Lions are teetering on that line again, haunted by echoes of 0-16, by the heartbreak of near misses, by the franchise's relentless quest for that elusive postseason breakthrough, that Calvin Johnson's roar, and Barry Sanders' dance promise, but never fully delivered during this dark period. It's about controlling the line of scrimmage, yes, but also about knowing who's willing to dig deeper when the freeze sets in. Will the raw power of a rookie, perhaps a late bloomer from last year's draft, step into Lynn's shoes and shock everyone with relentless pursuit? Will the locker room rally behind a decision that might seem cold, but is driven by a gritty desire to chase that hard-to-grab playoff magic that Dan Campbell preaches, even if it means pulling the rug from beneath a promising but inconsistent player? And with the NFL trade winds whispering of rival teams eyeing Detroit's flex on the edge, this decision could ripple beyond Ford Field. Imagine a rival GM, headset on, watching with a sneer, realizing that Detroit might be in a gamble mode, betting on their locker room toughness over fleeting talent. Meanwhile, fire Chris jokes from the tight end room soften the tension. But in the shadow of this axe hanging over Lynn's head, the true question becomes, who's willing to step up under pressure and claim that last coveted roster spot, knowing it might change the entire landscape of Detroit's defensive identity. Those final snap counts, those last-minute adjustments, are they enough to write a new story, or just another chapter of heartbreak in the city's storied history? Because that's the truth. Once this move is made, the ripple effect could turn into a tidal wave. Draft picks on the horizon, veteran signings queued up, cap space shifting like Detroit's relentless winters, each one carrying the weight of history and hope. And as we stare at this puzzle, the real heavyweight question looms. If Lynn is gone, who's the one to seize that edge? The one to make quarterbacks think twice and the NFC North tremble? Who's got the grit, the spark, the Detroit steel too? Punch through the ice that's threatening to swallow the season? And right when you think you see the shape of it all, just as the city's heart beats faster, here's where the real story cuts deeper. The unthinkable event that could tip the scales entirely, because the next move isn't just about a player. It's about whether Detroit's haunted past will finally give way to a new wave of defiant resilience, or if in that moment, that frozen crack in the ice becomes a fracture that no effort can mend, a snowstorm that buries any hope of a return. So buckle up, this isn't just football. It's Detroit's resurrection hanging on the edge. And when the smoke clears, the question we all fear the answer to is whether that last slot, that final edge rusher, will be claimed by a drafted rookie with nothing to lose or a grizzled vet who's been through the worst, the kind of grit that defines a city and a team desperate to rise from the ashes onto that bright, unforgiving playoff gridiron.